evening, everyone. I'm so freaking excited about this daggone game. We are like, what, 48 hours away from kickoff? Yeah, just about, for real. Man, listen, I can't get enough of it. We're going to dive into it. Listen, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. If you have not already liked, subscribe. We're heading towards our goal of 40K. You can be the person to help us get us over that hump. So please do that. Also, we have a little announcement here with the podcast. So the podcast platform called Spreaker. That's not speaker like your audio speaker, but Spreaker. Spreaker. Spreaker.com. It's a podcast platform. We just expanded our relationship with them. If you go there, all right, and download the app, search Buckeye Scoop and follow, save, download, all that stuff. That will be extremely helpful. Spreaker's a dope platform. So I'm not an Apple person. Go ahead and judge me. I'm a Droid person. I've always loved my Samsung Galaxies. So I have Spreaker. So anyway, do us that favor. Also, when you send those wonderful super chats, helps to go towards the Pay It Forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they always look out for us. Nevada, how are you doing on this glorious Monday evening before the game?
I'm doing great, and thanks for making that announcement about Spreaker expanding our relationship with Spreaker. Really excited about them. Really excited about what we can do with them. And like I said, we'll still be available on other podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. But if you can go to Spreaker.com, hit that follow button, that really helps us out. And just again, we really appreciate it. But hey, I'm as excited as I am about Spreaker. I am 100 times more excited about this game coming up because, there's a little bit. We talked before this. There's a little bit of anxiety, but it's not like I'm not anxious because I think we're going to lose. I just want to see. I love this team so much. I just can't wait to see them on the field again. And the fact that I get to see it in person, it's going to be special. I can't wait for Wednesday night, and I think it's going to be a great night for all of Buckeye Nation, and we're definitely going to take over Jerry World, and I'm looking forward to being part of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a combination of being off for 3 weeks, coming off of that loss, everything that's transpired since then, the doubters in our own fan base, the haters outside of our fan base, the Miami fans talking extra crazy. I mean, it's a combination of all of that, Nevada. And so I really believe this team is going to go out there and put on a show. And we're going to get into some different things regarding, some changes, some very critical changes going into the Cotton Bowl, but also why we believe we'll win. And then we'll give our score predictions. So, Nevada, let's kick it off, man. Let's get into the title of the massive changes going into the Cotton Bowl, and we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, there's some big changes on both sides of the ball, and it was kind of interesting today. They were, their interview with Matt Patricia up, and they were talking about kind of the game plan, and he was almost kind of giddy. He was almost kind of smiling about all the stuff that that they have in mind. They're going to give them some different looks. Obviously, he didn't want to go into too much about what the different looks are going to be, but Patricia, he's taken this OSU defense, and it's been really interesting. The base concept of the defense. Last year it was really simulated pressure. Last year was all about going to the line. Everybody does simulated pressure,
right.
But he's kind of taken it another step where he's like, they like to show pressure because offensive lines will slide their protections towards the side of where they think the pressure is coming from. And so what he's doing is he's getting them to commit to a slide to one side and then flipping it and bringing the pressure from the other side. So it's not just a simulated one where they're going out front. He's actually initiating action that's causing a reaction from the offense and then going to the opposite side. And I think that's caused Arvell Reese to have a little bit of dip in production as they've used him a little bit as a decoy. I think they're bringing him back in this game. And I think Arvell is going to be, without giving away too much, I think Arvell is going to have a more expanded role in the game. As will Jalen McClain, which is another guy to keep an eye out for. In different situations and in different stuff. You've also got CJ Hicks, who's been kind of a forgotten man. He was a guy that was on the field at the final play of the Texas game, redshirting this year, but is now eligible to play. So you might see him in some interesting spots as well. So I think defensively, you're going to see some changes from this OSU defense, which has really made its mark by confusing quarterbacks all year long. And with 3 weeks to prepare, and Patricia really in his bag, I think you're going to see some different things that are going to really make you smile on Wednesday. And then offensively, the big change is Gabe Van Sickle. Gabe Van Sickle starting at right guard and replaced for the Tigre, who we told you had a minor procedure earlier after the Big Ten championship game, and you're going to be out for a little bit. And I think they have him listed as doubtful, but other people have him listed as out. But Gabe's been really, really good, and there was a cut up of him, in blocking and pass protection, and he's super capable out there. When he was in there, in the Big Ten championship game, we had two drives. Both drives went down. They didn't result in points, but they were both, lengthy drives that ended, inside the 10-yard line. So I think if we clean those things up, and Ryan Day does respond in the red zone and in short yardage the way that we think he's going to, which is a more sensible two tight end front. I would expect to see a lot of Max Clare and Will Kazmarek in the red zone as opposed to the 3 and 4 stuff. If we do that, we're gonna have we'll certainly have better success. And I think any of the mistakes that we were seeing out of the right guard spot, I'm not saying he's that Gabe's going to be perfect, but I think he's an upgrade over what we had, and I'm excited to that. So got changes on both sides of the ball. And the good news is this team, we're the number 2 team in the country. Don't need to change a lot, but I think with these tweaks, we could certainly get on a roll and go take the whole thing.
Definitely, absolutely. And this Van Sickle insertion into the lineup. Now, listen, Tegra, had a procedure, and he was dinged up and all that, and speedy recovery for him. But yes, we did see consistency in the second half. And I got this pulled up. This is Landon Tingwall. He's like a film guy on Twitter, and he was praising Van Sickle. He said, "Did anyone know that Ohio State backup right guard Gabe Van Sickle balled out in the Big Ten championship versus Indiana? Here's why OSU fans don't need to worry about right guard anymore." And so I'll expand just to show a brief little clips of this, not for long, but he's just showing how well Van Sickle is, getting to his spot, getting his hands on his man. Not only that, but on the stunts that they were doing, the twists, he's showing on film how Gabe had the wherewithal to be able to, when he was released, he came back around and picked up the stunt and gave Sand just enough time to dump the ball off for a first down. It's stuff like that that is so important in this game, blocking this defensive line. So I will take it off the screen just to be careful with, showing too much film. But the Van Sickle thing is huge to me, because not only do we see proof on film that he played well in the second half and was able to help us drive downfield, but he's had 3 weeks of a lot of reps in that spot. And so, we got a game plan. We got everything lined up that they've been repping. And so that makes me feel really good. And I believe the scheme, Nevada, because, again, the Indiana game was not just about the line being bad. It was a combination of things. And schematically, and what we were trying to do out there really wasn't putting them in the best position to execute. And I believe we're going to see that. And I'll get into that more in a little bit. But what you got on that, brother?
Well, yeah, no, I've always believed that we've talked about this many times. I'm sure that scheme, it's everything, and it's the reason why Navy can lead the nation in rushing with 245-pound offensive linemen every year,
Right.
and you wonder how the guys that are 1-star recruits, how can that be? Well, it's just scheme. If you scheme it up correctly and you give defenses enough to think about, anybody can run the ball, properly. Anybody can pass the ball properly. Anybody can be successful. But if you're predictable, if you're running into mass fronts, if you don't provide constraints, than even the best offensive line, is going to challenge. And I think, for Ryan Day, the good news about Ryan is he's a smart guy. He learns. He's stubborn as heck. But I think when you see him make a move like the move to take away play calling from Brian Hartline, it's so big on so many different levels. But the biggest thing to me was showing that he's initiating change. He
Yeah.
was not happy with the way things were being run. And I think it's when you see something like that, it's kind of impossible to believe that he was the one calling the plays. He was getting exactly what he wanted. And so he felt so strongly about that that he had to remove play calling from Brian Hartline. That makes no sense. There had to be something in there that he wasn't getting, that he wasn't happy with the way that it was going. Because if now he's putting himself on the line. If he comes out and does the exact same things, and he's the play caller, he's going to look ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so I think for Ryan, this almost screams that he has to change. And where do we need to change the most? In short yardage, in the red zone, and frankly, becoming more of a pass first team. I mean, if our pattern follows run pass, it's going to be a long evening, and that goes for any defensive front, and certainly one as talented as Miami. I think they've had 40 plus sacks this year. If you put yourself in third and long against those guys, then something bad things are going to happen. But I think for Ryan Day to have done that, he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to run Hartline like that. He could have kept it the way it was. If he was really calling the plays and Hartline was just a figurehead, he would have kept things the way they were. There's no reason to make
Right.
a change, and
Right.
certainly no reason to announce it. I mean, he not only made the change, he went out and publicly took it. So and that had to be something for Brian. I mean, think about it from Brian's standpoint. Like you're being demoted to just the wide receiver coach, kind of publicly before the biggest game of the season in 2025. I mean, that had to hurt. That had
Yeah.
to hurt him. But Ryan, I think Ryan's kind of one of those blank your feelings type of guys at this point. If I need
Yeah.
to replace the quarterback, I'll do it. If I need to replace a running back, I'll do it. If I need to replace the offensive coordinator, I'll do it. So I'm excited to see the changes, and I think those changes on the offensive side with Ryan are going to be profound.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Remember, a few days ago, I told you I was surprised he made it public. I'm not mad he made it public, but I didn't think he was going to make it public. And so, yeah, I think there was something behind that. We can go different angles, and we've already kind of touched on it. But I do want to touch on Miami. So Nevada just talked about the game plan and him, stepping in as the old coordinator. It just still baffles me. You have fans out there talking about we're going to lose now because he's the coordinator. Still talking, Nevada. But listen, I went back and watched games. I watched 3 games. I watched the Louisville game they lost, the SMU game, and the Florida State game they won, which was not by a wide margin. And we know Florida State is doo-doo. But there's a couple things that were very common in their loss. SMU and Louisville, they were able to get the ball out quick and utilize tempo. 2 things that both teams did. They were able to run enough. Not SMU. Let me see. SMU, they ran the least. They really relied on the pass, short, quick passes, turnovers from Beck. But they both utilized tempo and quick passes, especially Louisville. They ate. They really, really ate their skill guys against the Miami secondary. There was when they ran man, they scored on a shallow crosser, number 0 for Louisville. They ran the safeties off and the DBs with post routes and brought the shallow cross underneath, and he scored on like a 40-yard run. And so it was that blueprint that got them beat twice. SMU hit them boys up for 365 in the air. We told y'all this before. But 365, if our defense this year got hit for 365, Nevada, we are rending our garments and just absolutely going insane. And so Miami's defense is a good unit. They have good talent and athletes, but you can neutralize that pass rush with getting the ball out quick, tempo. You're able to run off that tempo because the defense is not always set. They can't substitute guys they want to get in there for the looks that we have. And if we have a guy like Bo Jackson in there who has shown that he can pass pro much better, he can pass pro, he can catch out of the backfield, and he can run the ball. He is now officially a triple threat. So we don't have to jam Donaldson in there as much because he's showing he can pick up the blitz. And so now we can keep guys in there and run tempo like Bo Jackson and be able to do multiple looks and play calls off of that. And that is a bad deal for Miami because in these games, your boys Bain Jr. and Messidor were neutralized. Both had 0 sacks in these games. Okay. And so that's the blueprint. Think Wisconsin, Ohio State at Wisconsin this year. I believe Saying threw it 29 times, almost 400 yards passing. His percentage was crazy and all that. I know Wisconsin is not quite Miami, but Wisconsin has a good front and they had a good defense. Their defense wasn't the issue. And so my point is not necessarily the opponent, but the game plan is in our bag. Because I know a lot of people talk about 13 to 14 personnel. Yes, we relied on that heavy a lot this year, but the Wisconsin game was a game where we went heavy RPO. And Saying did a great job of dumping the ball off to his hots, his running backs out of the backfield, going through his reads. If it wasn't there, boom, Bo Jackson for a 10-yard first down. So I'm looking to see that type of game plan versus this Miami team because it's all over film. It's there for you for the taking. We just have to execute it, Nevada.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, the highest efficiency plays that Ohio State has run all year has been when we run tempo, and for Miami's been killed by tempo all year long. They have trouble substituting. They have trouble getting organized. Clearly an issue for them from a fatigue and conditioning standpoint. It's just going to be a question of whether or not Ryan Day's going to want to do the coaching. He says he likes to see the look in the eye of the quarterback before whatever that means, because he can't see him for the sideline. I guess it's just he likes to have that extra little communication with them, but
Right.
pre-snap and give him those little swing thoughts or whatever he's going to give them. But I think for Ohio State, going fast makes so much sense, and it's funny with as much as we practice it, you would think that we'd be like a tempo fast break team, and we practice it all the time. And I think the players are ready for it. There's been a conditioning issue that's been addressed on the offensive line. We don't have big, fat, slow offensive linemen anymore. We can move on the offensive line. We can go. We can keep it up. So there's no reason we can't run 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plays in a row and keep the team off guard. But I think for Ryan, he still likes to be a little bit of a control guy in terms of doing it. But I think for him, he's got a veteran team. He's got some guys that have this isn't a young, inexperienced team anymore. These are guys that have all played a lot of football. That offensive line, with the exception of Van Sickles, played. They've played all year long, and they've seen a lot of snaps. And the guys on the left side and in the center were all in the national championship game last year. So I think for him, he's just got to sit back, trust them, against this Miami team. And, I think when you go fast, you let your athletes take over. And Miami, you look at that availability report, Miami, arguably their best defensive back is out for the game. Yeah. And they were already depleted a little bit on the backside. So I think you got to take advantage of it, run, when you can, but go fast, set up the run with the pass, trust our athletes. And I think if Ryan Day does that, we're going to be in good shape. We're going to be in good shape on Saturday. And, I think it's important that we have some success early on, because you just don't want to let Miami hang around. You don't want them to hang around and start to believe that they can do some stuff or put some doubt into Julian Saint's mind. And he's had a little bit of a slow start for the last couple of games. Get him started fast, and I think we should be just fine, against the Hurricanes on Wednesday night.
Yep, I agree. And one quick note about injury report: Miami fans, for y'all here that's been dealing with Miami fans, if you haven't, then this ain't for you. But as you've been online on your page, social media, dealing with them, one thing, Nevada, they've been saying is, "Oh, we were hurt. We had a bunch of injuries in those games we lost." Well, I did a little bit of research, and against Louisville, I looked at the final injury report. And that was posted 2 hours before the kickoff, and they had 0 starters missing. Louisville had 2 starters missing. If anyone was at a disadvantage, it was Louisville. And so don't let them lie to you. Okay. Also, I had a Miami fan on my page saying they because we were talking about the DB they have out, Demarion, I forget his name, and they said we're not worried about that, or we deep at DB. Well, with that logic, let's just say you were telling the truth and you were missing a couple of DBs because they said they was missing a couple of DBs in the secondary. Then wouldn't that depth show up and rise up? If you that deep at DB, then wouldn't that depth show up and stop Louisville? But like I said, Nevada, I went and checked and they didn't have any starters out. So anyway, the point is they got ran by Louisville and they got ran by SMU. 2 average teams. And maybe that's being kind. And they're going to make excuses about it because I'm saying this because they keep pointing to the Indiana loss as if it's some ace card they can just slap on the table and say, that's why we're going to beat you. They have the blueprint. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because Ohio State beat themselves largely in that game. Let's just keep it a buck. That's not taken away from Indiana, taking advantage of our mistakes and our even stupidity with our approach at times and just lack of execution. Kudos to Indiana for y'all who want to whine about, oh, give Indiana credit. Good job. You won the Big Ten title game. They got it done. But it's about us. And Ohio State did not play their best game. They did not coach their best game in the Big Ten title game. And if you think that's the blueprint to beat us, then you're sorely mistaken, fellas. Nevada?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, yeah, I've said it before, but think about the game the week before. The game the week before ends with the Ohio State players going into the stands and celebrating with the fans.
Right.
That's how big that win was. You know what I'm saying? That was not just get a win, head off the thing, get on the bus, go home. Like that was completely different. That was a exorcism of 4 years of a nightmare of 4 years going on playing that Michigan team, and that just takes a toll on you. That just absolutely takes a toll on you. And I've seen it happen throughout sports. I've seen it happen not only to Ohio State but teams up and down, all over college football. And so I think for Ohio State, after 3 weeks, the biggest thing we're concerned about is being a little stale, being a little rusty.
Right.
After 3 weeks off. But the good news is any of the lingering injuries that we had, any of the lingering injuries, and there were stuff, there was some stuff with JJ, some stuff with Carnell, some stuff with Julian, all that stuff's gone. Like, we're going in as healthy, the availability reports, and people were freaking out about the availability report. And it's like the only 2 guys on the entire availability report of any note were Tigra, who we talked about, and
Right.
Will Smith Jr., who's probable. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else literally has not played this year, or guys that, probably most people couldn't even recognize are on the team. So, while the Ohio State, availability report, it's lengthy or, lengthier than Miami's. I mean, let's go through the list on the Ohio State side and let's play how many significant plays have they played all year? Okay. Let's
All
go through
right.
the names. Okay.
All right, here we go. First one, out. Malik Hartford.
Hasn't played.
Number 11, wide receiver, Quincy Porter, the freshman.
Not much.
Not much. QB, number 16, Mason Maggs.
Who?
You ever see that Snoop Dogg gif on the internet? Like, who? That's, yeah. No offense, Mr. Maggs family. If you're watching, we love you, kid. I just don't know who he is. D lineman, number 48, Logan George. We know who George is, but he hasn't played much.
Nope.
Probable, wide receiver, number 8, Desi Jones.
Nope.
Running back, Turbo Rogers.
Nope.
Safety, number 24, Deshaun Stewart.
Nope.
Safety, freshman, number 30, Cody Haddad.
Nope.
D lineman, okay, Will Smith, probably played the most out of this entire group.
Yep.
Okay.
We recognize, we know that name.
Recognize that one. That's one.
Yep.
O lineman, one of the twins, number 73, Devontae Armstrong.
Nope.
Doubtful, D lineman number 59, Ahmed Tunkara.
Nope.
And then lastly, O line number 77, who we told you first was getting a procedure and was not going to play, Tegra Shabola.
Yep, that's a guy, but I like Gabe. But yeah, I mean, you look at that list, and it's like, I mean, I guess the point is I feel really, really, really good about where Ohio State stands from a health standpoint right now.
Right.
And that's not always the case because sometimes even these long layoffs, you can get the flu, you can get sick, you can get hurt, you can have re-aggravate an injury, but we're about as healthy as injuries will not be an excuse for play on Wednesday night, good or bad.
Yeah, definitely. And the kid's name, I see it now, Damari Brown, their DB number 2. And so when this first dropped, Miami fans were like low-key spazzing, like, like, dang, like, ouch. But now they've gathered themselves and now they're downplaying it. But the point is, he is more a significant loss on their end than we have any significant losses on our end. So like Nevada said, this is definitely a good report for Ohio State. And DB is a spot they need all hands on deck to stop our receivers. And so, because look, Carnell Tate, they keep talking about J.J. Smith. Carnell Tate is going to really, really kill them. And listen, Brandon Ennis has played well down the stretch. He may be an underneath chain mover, but he's moving the chains and he's not dropping any balls. He's catching everything. I mean, he's scoring touchdowns against the rival. Like, don't sleep on Ennis. And of course, we got Max Clare. And then also don't sleep on Bo Jackson and our running backs out of the backfield. I'm telling you, we're going to get the ball out of Sayan's hands quickly. And we're going to move the chains. And that's going to just kill Miami. And I can't wait to see it, Nevada. I cannot wait to see it after all this 13, 14 personnel. We're going to see this offense open up on Wednesday, and I'm super excited about it.
Well, yeah, I think I think you hit it right in the head. I think that the backside of the backfield is going to be a big part of the offense, and Max Clare's had an increasingly expanded role as he's kind of gone through the season, become more and more of a potential weapon. And I think these 3 weeks they've kind of put to good use in terms of activating him more fully in this game and beyond. So yeah, I definitely expect those two things to be welcome additions to the three primary guys at wide receivers. When you can go to your running backs, when you can go to the tight end in addition to them, then man, it makes it really difficult to defend.
Definitely. And low key, we got them stacking up. We can get the super chats. But real quick, Nevada, I wanted to show something because I've had a lot of people hit me up concerned about this, especially with this being the game week that we play Miami. I'm going to share my screen just so y'all can relax a little bit. This is Jameer Brown. Because he was seen, Nevada, earlier this week wearing Miami Hurricane gear. Now, I don't know if he was trolling. I don't know if he got it from him. You know how recruits just be wearing stuff. They wear other team stuff because they get sent apparel all the time. I don't know if it was the best move to do that the week that your team is playing Miami, so I can understand the angst. But I'm showing that because Jameer's like, relax, I'm a Buckeye, whatever. Just wanted to show the people that so they can chill, Nevada.
Well, yeah, and like I got a lot of pushback from the last show because they're like, "Hey, Nevada, how can you be partners with B Moses when he said it was a 75% chance that Miami wins the game?" And I'm like, "Hey, look, I love B. I'm going to defend him to the end and stuff like that." And so I honestly was ready for you to pull out like the Miami shirt or something like that, or the little hat or something like that. So I'm glad you're not doing that, and I'm glad that you and Jameer Brown have kind of come to your senses and. Go Bucks.
Oh man, that's funny. Nevada, listen, it's so funny because the Miami fans online they just hate me because like you're so biased. I'm just like, I threw y'all a bone. I said 3 out of 4. Y'all will win 3 out of 4 games out of the 10 games. And this is the thanks I get. So anyway, but no, that's funny. That is hilarious. See what happens when you try to be nice to fan bases.
I
I'm
don't be
done.
nice.
I'm
I'm
done.
telling you, you're young. You're young and full of hope and optimistic. Man, do not be nice to these people. If you're nice to them, they're going to turn on you. They're going to turn on you, and like your niceness is going to be forgotten.
Yeah, yeah. Lesson learned. I'll I'll keep cranking out the nasty memes and whatever pisses you off the most. I'll keep cranking it out because because trust me, I piss them off. Like it's an art form, but every now and then I throw them a bone. But no more, no more. I'll tell you. All right,
Now,
let's get
now,
it.
wait a second. Now, are we going to do score prediction? Are we doing score predictions now? Or are you going to? Did
I
you
was
want to do the
well. You know
at?
what? No, that's good. I was gonna wait to the very end, but we don't have to. Let's give them now. Let's give
Okay.
them now, and then we'll do super chats. Okay.
Now,
So,
what if you predict Miami to win and it just pisses everybody off on our thing, and people don't want to super chat anymore because they just want to sign off on the show?
well, listen, I got Miami 34-3. Okay, so I don't know what you're expecting from me. It's all about the you, baby.
Oh my gosh!
Ain't that how they
I
do it?
knew, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen.
Oh man, I would
Um,
never give you bums the satisfaction. I can't stand that fan base. They're the fakest, most bandwagony, chirpingest, butt hurtest fans I can think of, honestly. Like, and there's some bad fan bases out there. And I'll tell you what, man, these Miami fans, I cannot wait to circle back to some of the comments and posts on New Year's Eve, or maybe New Year's Day, because I'll be too busy celebrating.
yeah,
But anyway,
but the good news is there's only like eight of them. That's the good news. They may be
yes,
loud, but like like there's like so few Miami fans. I mean, it is
yeah.
crazy how small their fan base is.
That's true. And I just love this picture. Look at the glee and joy on Jeremiah Smith's face. He's biting the lip and he's sticking the ring in his camera. And you got the Miami fan right there, butt hurt. He's so angry. Look at him. He's ignoring the box of tissues. And then look at homeboy on the left with his glee.
Uh,
He's like, yo, we did it, son. We did it. You know what I'm saying? It's just I love that they're so angry about 23 years ago. And it's just gonna make this win all the better, Nevada. Ah, man. All right. All right. Let's do it. What you got, man? I read your post on how you see it. Nevada has a great column on BuckeyeScoop.com for every game, how I see it. And for those again who have not joined BuckeyeScoop.com, we get just like we told you that we knew Ryan Day was going to be calling the plays a week before. That was on the scoop board, which is why I was surprised he made it public when he did. So I'm like, okay, you gonna tell everybody? But listen, great inside information, great content. It's always bumping, always popping, lots of great discussion, even non-football related, just fun stuff. I'm on there, Nevada's on there, Dev. Listen, BuckeyeScoop.com. Before the new year, before this game, dive in, get you a subscription. With that said, Nevada, tell us about your score prediction that you laid out on that how you see it column.
well, I've been able to watch Miami at a number of times. I think I probably watched 8 or 9 games so far this year, and I just my overall impression is that they're a good team. They're a good team, but when they get up against other good teams, that they really struggle, and I think that goes for them on both sides of the ball, and that's why I think they struggled so much against A&M. And that was obviously a very low scoring affair. Could have gone either way. Obviously, we've got the losses to Louisville, the losses to SMU, the close win over a Notre Dame team that I just don't think's very good at all. And
Yeah.
I think it's just I think it's just going to be you've got a coaching advantage, you've got advantages for Ohio State at just about every key spot. You've got motivation, you've got health, you've got pseudo home field because I'm telling you it's going to be a big home field crowd for Ohio State down there in Jerry World. Lots of fans, Ohio State fans down in Texas, and Miami, as we talked about, doesn't travel well. Very few fans, and the way that looks what the tickets are going, going to be a big house for Ohio State. So my final score prediction, you guys can hold me to this. I've got Ohio State 28, Miami 13. So I've got Ohio State winning, covering the spread in a relatively low scoring affair. Um, Do I think it could be? And I think it could be worse. And I don't think this
Yeah.
game needs to be this close. I think it'll be a comfortable win the whole way. And I just think I think Ohio State will move the ball relatively easily. And I think Miami will really struggle to move the ball. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the story of the game.
Yeah, I agree. And before I get into mine, first of all, amen to all of that. You've noticed, Nevada, I've been reminding, and this is why I love what you said about Matt Patricia and the defense earlier, because I've been constantly reminding people about our defense going into this matchup. Not that people forgot they're good, but they're not being talked about so much as the offense, because the offense failed us. But our defense, this playoffs is what this defense is built for. These playoffs. And then, of course, you have coming off that loss where they felt like they could have played better. Well, shoot, holding a team to 13 points, especially with the Heisman Trophy winner and a top 5 offense, is plenty good. But this team, this defense has a chip. They've had time to prepare and plan. Matt Patricia has crazy experience with post-season runs. And these boys, I think, are going to really remind people of how good they are. And so I just want to remind people, I know we're looking at the offense like, man, I hope we do better. But this defense, man, I can see this defense causing a turnover, pick six, scoop and score, all of that stuff. And so just want to remind y'all that. And real quick, this literally, Nevada, and everybody watching, as I was looking at my phone, this literally just came across my Buckeye Sports Talk with B. Moses Facebook page. This is from a Miami fan, fresh, hot off the presses, from some guy named Ernesto Varas. What you have to deal with on December 31st is karma. You took something that did not belong to you in 2002. Claret was ineligible to start with. Karma awaits Ohio State. Nevada Buck. This is what we've been dealing with online with these goofy Miami fans. 23 years of crying and just it's just I haven't seen anything like this, Nevada. Honestly, Michigan fans, they're in a class by themselves, but this, before I even get to my prediction, this is just so unique when it comes to crying and butthurt. And they're just setting themselves up for massive, even more massive butthurt after they lose this game. They've pushed all their chips in, Nevada, for their so-called revenge. What you got on that, man?
Well, it is rich hearing from a Miami fan about ineligible players and
Right,
stuff like that. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, really? That's where you want to go to the ineligible to the words Nevin Shapiro. I mean, and then you guys, I mean,
Come
like,
on.
come on, guys. Let's get real. And instead of karma awaits, you should have written the Fiesta Bowl awaits the Buckeyes. That part, I agree with you on that, Ernesto. But I think you misspelled it. But yeah, that just seems like a weird flex. You know, Miami, the paragon of virtue of college football. Talking about, they do it the right way down there. They don't have any illegal players or ineligible benefits or any of that other stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, I think there's a little bit of revisionist history, but the fact that they're still bitter 23 years later, I I don't think they realized how good that makes us feel. The
Right,
fact that we
right.
own their souls decades. I would never let anybody know that decades later that they still dominated all my thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what a wretched existence for Miami fans. But I know it's true though. I know that's how they're all stuck in this time warp where they remember when they were relevant back in 2000, 2001, 2002 before we ended it all. And we did end it all. Like we literally ended the dynasty that night.
Mm,
It all
mm, mm.
died. They've never been back since. And and obviously, making the playoff, slipping into the playoff like they did this year, they're not going any further. So this is about as good as it gets for them. But I do love that we own their souls.
Own their souls. Look at this. Look at Craig Krenzel, the leading rusher in that title game, the molecular genetics major, throwing up the peace sign on the grave. We broke you, and it's so glorious. What did this one say? Okay, yeah, this is the one I put up a while ago. They talk about they're better. We are better at both O line and D line than IU, and I trust Corey Heatherman will confuse saying to throw a few picks, which could be returned for a TD or set up great field goal opportunities with no wind. That's right. You're not the only team that has the benefit of no wind. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are fully healthy with no wind. So these fans, man, I just wanted to, for the last time, maybe before the game, show y'all the delusion and the butt hurt. It's insane. So with that said, I second everything Nevada said. I went back and forth on this. This is definitely one of those situations where I think it could be worse. I got 31-16, Ohio State. We scored 4 touchdowns and a field goal, and we only give up 16 points to the Canes. They're just I don't see how they consistently move the ball. I think that's going to be the thing. We don't turn the ball over a ton. We're one of the best teams in the country with not turning the ball over. Julian's saying you've noticed after he has games where either he makes a mistake or just does something that wasn't, like him, he bounces back. He's going to learn. Um, I can't wait to see a spread all around the field. And I think Bo Jackson is going to outplay Mark Fletcher. So that is my score, Nevada Buck. What you got on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good one. I think we both ironically picked Ohio State to win by 15 points,
Oh,
and
I didn't even notice that.
yeah,
Okay.
yep, and I think that's about right. I think when we're a couple touchdowns better than Miami, and I think that'll play out. And if we get a little bit of luck, if we get some breaks or something like that, I certainly see this as one of those games that we could break open and not make close. And I think for a defense for like Ohio State's that hasn't had a lot of turnovers, but Beck is a guy that really likes to put the ball up in harm's way. And like Julian's been so good that when Julian has a bad game and is only at 75%
Right.
completions, people we freak out, 'cause so we're used to him completing every single pass. So I think he's just spoiled us as of late. Um, but I think him being healthy, the receivers being healthy, having a chance to work on the timing. I think we're going to see a different Ohio State team. Remember, people doubted Ohio State going into 10. A lot of people are picking Tennessee to beat us last year in that first playoff game,
Yep.
and obviously, I like this matchup even better, and I like the mindset of this Ohio State team. I think we're at a really good place.
Yep, they definitely got a look in their eye watching the bowl press conference. Like Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, them boys is ready. They are ready, man. It's go time. And the super chats are ready. Iowa Buck, thanks for the 4.99. Why do I feel like Gabe is going to be so good at right guard that we are going to be scratching our heads as to why Tegra started all year? I hope you're right. And I don't think you're off because, again, he played well down the stretch in the Indiana game. And having consistent first team reps works wonders for guys, confidence, and just his ability to be able to learn and get into a rhythm. And he's had 3 weeks to do that. Now, I know Padilla is getting reps as well, but Van Sickle will start. So I agree, Iowa Buck. I'm excited to see this line come out and redeem themselves because it wasn't just the right guard position. Philip Daniels didn't have his best game. Hinsman didn't have his best game. And these guys are going to play much better. And so Bowen will make sure of that. And Ryan Day and this offensive staff will make sure of that. And the players will make sure of that. And so I'm excited, Nevada.
Well, yeah, and it's not like this staff hasn't made some questionable decisions on offensive line guys before. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, last year, Luke Montgomery doesn't even play until the playoffs. Carson Hinsman, after starting the whole year before, is the number 10 guy on the offensive line, goes on to become a first team All American this year. So, like, the fact that Gabe could come in and play well, look, every time he's come in spot duty, I thought he's been terrific. So, him coming in and playing at a high level. And you know what's going to do? It's when Tigre comes back, he'll be better, and it's just going to make a competitive situation even better and create more depth for Ohio State. So I'm excited about it. But yeah, I'm really optimistic about how Gabe plays at right guard tomorrow.
Yeah, me as well. Especially after rewatching the game and also watching that all 22 film of how he was performing. He looked really clean out there and executed very well. So I agree. Pinky in the house. Thanks for the 9.99. Can you talk about portal prospects and who the Buckeyes are going after? What are the chances we get Connor Stroh? Kid is a beast. Honestly, Nevada, with everything else going on, I mean, I've had my eye on portal guys. Coleman from Penn State and stuff like that. But I've really been focused on the game. What you got on that? Have you heard anything, or have you been keeping up with it lately with everything going on?
Well, I mean, look, Chaz Coleman, is short of a big NIL offer coming in from somebody else is going to be a Buckeye. I think I feel pretty good about that. Um, obviously he's a guy that's high up on the list, but Ohio State's really looking hard at a big time number two wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? And that could be either one of the Marsh brothers. It could be Coleman. It could be Ryan Williams from Alabama. I mean, they're gonna get a big. They are looking very hard at bringing in a big time number two wide receiver to play with Julian Sand and play across from J.J. Smith next year. And I think it's smart. I think they recognize it as a big year. Um, for a potential national championship run. So, I that's the only thing that I know in terms of the names. Like you said, it's been so hard with this run up to the when you're in the college football playoff. This calendar just doesn't really allow um, you know for a lot of time for Ohio State to do this stuff because
Right.
we're in the middle of this and now we got to be looking at transfer portal kids at the same time. So don't have specifics. Am digging for more of that stuff, but I do know that I know, and the reason I know is because I know the agents are saying that Ohio State is telling them they're willing to spend money for a premier number two wide receiver. So that's what I know. Well, as I get more, we can talk about it for sure.
Definitely. And I mean, Nevada, people get upset when we've said that. I've seen people like, "You're stupid. Why would we do that? We're deeper wide receiver." We have some younger guys like Quincy Porter, Chris Henry Jr., who's going to be a true freshman coming in. Yeah, we think they're talented. We think Chris Henry Jr. can come in and help. But like Nevada has said, Ohio State wants to make it unfair and another natty or bust year. And so you gotta do whatever you feel like is best. Shoot, you can make the argument that Judkins wasn't necessary, like in hindsight, before because Henderson is a dog. Yeah, but guess what? You try to stack the deck and use the portal. Guess what? Adding Judkins was great, and so we got to do what we got to do. So anyway, yeah, I think we're going to hear more later, but right now it's all about the U and dispatching these fools and getting them up out the paint. All right. Stilly Matt, my brother, thanks for the 199. Scoop family, been a great year. It has. That's the other thing about it is that we are looking at the turn of another year. And it just never ceases to amaze me. We look up, it's like, dang, it's about to be another year. Like 2025 is about to be over in a couple of days. So that's sort of the backdrop of this game is that we're going to be ringing in a new year. And it's been some ups and downs. I'm sure that's how it usually is. Some great things, not so great things. But one of those great things is Ohio State winning a national championship. And then now we're right here in the catbird seat to try to repeat. So I'm definitely grateful for that, Nevada.
Yeah, well, the time flies, man. And as you get older, it certainly it certainly flies even more. It seems like yesterday was celebrating the national championship down in Atlanta, and now we're into the final three games of this season. So yeah, that's why I say enjoy every game. These seasons go all too quickly, and then we get into that barren wasteland of February through
Yeah.
August, where it's just like we gotta watch baseball and all that dumb basketball and
Dumb
WN
basketball.
WNBA games where B Moses out there with the WNBA stuff and the
Juana
season
man.
season pass that you've got there to watch them. Every time I call B Moses during the offseason, he's like, "Hey, Nevada, I can't really talk right now. I'm watching the WNBA," and I'm like, "B, come on, man, we got to talk." No, man, I'm watching the New York Liberty play against the Los Angeles Sparks in the May Day game, and I'm like, "Oh man, B, come on, man."
Let me take my Angel Reese poster down real quick.
It's like you're knee bound, knee bound. It's like
You ever seen the movie Juana Man?
I have not seen Joanna
Have you
Man.
heard of the movie Joanna Man?
I have heard of the movie Joanna Man, but I have not seen
Another
it.
hilarious movie. An ex NBA player basically dresses up as a woman, joins the WNBA, and just balls out.
That's got to happen, right? I mean, at some point, that's got to
It's going to
happen.
happen at some
It's going to
point,
happen. Oh yeah, it's going to happen.
but
There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
yes, it was foretold. What that movie was, what, early 2000s, but it's hilarious. Another
How,
funny movie.
how would you do in
Um,
the WNBA right now, B? At
oh,
your age and everything
oh
like
my
that, like.
At my age, listen, if I was still 21, I'm averaging 40 and 10 boards
But how
and
about
10 assists.
How about 31-year-old B Moses right now,
30
like
oh,
you are?
31-year-old B Moses. I'm giving them 38 and 5. Easy. Because then that was before I tore my ACL. So I was still decently spry for a 30-year-old. So yeah, I'm 38 and 5. Like, it's just
I want to see B Moses post ACL surgery, a little bit older, a little bit wiser. I still think you could hang 20 on 20 and 10. I think you're a 20 and
yes.
10 guy.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Post
Yeah.
surgery. Okay, I'll be reasonable. 18, 7, and 3. Easy. Easy. Because
Oh
I'm
man.
just gonna be backing them down like
Yeah. Well,
32.
any WNBA teams out there, if you guys want, we're gonna put up some money. We'll have B Moses go there and play a little one-on-one against you. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. That's easy money. Sorry, ladies. Sorry. But anyway, you have to get me in trouble. I'm about to have all types of organizations boycotting me and at my door with
Oh
picket
no.
signs and anyway, all right. Toledo Geo with another great quote. Thanks for the 2. Day told Brian, "Who put this together? Me. That's who." That's supposed to be a Scarface quote. That was a bad Scarface. Who
that,
put
that
this together? I'm trying to get my Cuban voice.
Yeah, that's not good, B. That's
No,
not
it
good
was
at all.
bad. It was
That was
bad.
bad. That
It
was
was bad.
bad.
But listen, bad impressions are funny sometimes. Hopefully, y'all got a kick out of that. But yes, Cocaine Day, like some of y'all used to like to call him when he just goes absolutely crazy with the play calling in a good way, will show up. And I think Day, for real, all jokes aside, Ryan Day is going to remind people that this dude is cold. We did not celebrate. I won't even say celebrate. It's a strong word. We did not give a strong amen to him giving up the play calling because he was trash at play calling. We did it because we knew he would have a better, he would be better as a CEO to keep his eyes up on everything, especially when we were trying to get the defense back in order, not because he's bad at play calling. The dude is good at play calling, and he's going to remind people of that, Nevada.
Okay, now if I have a Kalshi prediction thing, and the question is, will Ryan Day use the word toughness in the post game press conference? What would the odds would you put of Ryan Day using the word toughness in the post game press conference post Cotton Bowl?
The odds. So I'm not like an odds person, so I don't know the verbiage of how I would say it.
Okay, but
So
on a scale of 1 to 10, how
scale of 1 to
likely
okay.
do you believe it is that he uses the word toughness?
I'm going to say 7 out of 10 that
Seven
he
out of
uses the
10.
word toughness. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go like 9.5. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 9.5, and I'll say even multiple references, maybe tough and then toughness or something like that. And I'll say even throw in a parlay where I'll throw in that he'll reference Lou Holtz, where he'll say, "Where's Lou Holtz at
That
some
would be
point too."
beautiful.
That gonna be
That would be
great.
or what if he really just spun it and said, "I want to know where Michael Irvin is right now. Where's Michael Irvin at?" That's what I wanted to say because that dude is
And
crazy. We're going to have to deal with Irvin and the camera. Okay, let's do a parlay. Let's do an odds on how many times the camera pans to Michael Irvin.
oh, you know that's gonna happen. Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
out of 10, how much?
You mean how many times will it go, or will it be
Well, yeah, I'm
panned to
sorry. That's a
Michael?
better. Yeah, how many times? Will it exceed over or under 10 times?
Whew. I'm going to say under because I don't think there'll be enough great moments for them to do it. But over 5 for
Over
sure. I'm going to
5.
say
Easy.
yeah over
Easy.
5. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. But I do think they had a good look in their eyes in the post game presser is a 10 out of 10. That is a for
Yeah.
sure. He will say that.
Good look in their eyes. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna check that.
Yep.
We're writing these down right now. Writing it down. Good look in
Yep.
their eyes. Got
He's
it.
gonna say, yeah, whoever, Wendy, I don't know who's gonna. Yeah, listen, this team showed that they had toughness today, and before the game, I said, I told Brian Hartline, they had a good look in their eyes, but
That,
before the while they were warming up. So I'm just so proud of this team. And then here comes one of the team, one of the players that hug him and they laugh, and then he says, interview this guy. He's the real person you should interview. Then he walks off with Jerry Emick. That's my
no, but he's got
prediction.
it. Nah, but then he's got to yell at the same time. Where's Lou Holtz? Where's Lou Holtz?
Oh man, Lou Holtz would love that. Lou
Oh, I
Holtz,
know. And
he
there's
would
a lot
love the
playing.
attention.
Please call me out, Ryan. Please.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Geo did. Thanks for the 5. Ryan Day realized what Brian Hartline, having split loyalties, wasn't taking any chances and took over the play calling as he should have. Yes, that's exactly right. But yet people, whatever, man. Y'all goofy. I can't wait to see some of y'all spin and responses after this game. But Ryan Day did the right thing. And Brian Hartline, I think this was better for Hartline because Hartline knew that he could not handle this right now because of everything he's trying to do. Shoot, Nevada, and this is, don't take this wrong, people. I'm not even sure he was fully confident he could handle it before the job because it's different going into the postseason calling plays against matchup games than a regular season where most of the teams you're playing you're favored against. So add on top of that the USF responsibilities. It's just like, no, this was the right thing for Ryan Day to do, and I'm excited. Y'all goofies out there can quake in your boots as if Ryan Day is going to be the downfall of the team if you want. I'm excited about this, Nevada.
Oh, I'm thrilled about. I mean, look, Brian Hartline is the only guy in the world that it benefits to us losing quicker than later. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Right.
mean, he's got a job to do down there, man. I understand it. I'm not saying it like, oh, Brian's a bad person. I'm just saying Brian's a rational person. He realizes the quicker we lose, the quicker he gets down there to that team that's going to determine his fate as a head coach. So he's got to get down there and take care of his business. So I get it. Ryan absolutely did the right thing, and I'm ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic that he took over the play calling.
Yep. Same here. Same here. All right, Jason. Thanks for the 20. I got really worried during the Indiana game. The Indiana game was too much of a reminder of the Michigan game last year. They looked nothing like they did all year. This year, not locked in at all. I hope they regroup. So, in my opinion, I don't think it was quite like the Michigan game, but I'm someone who's a maniac. I rewatched that game. I lost count on how many times I watched the Michigan game last year. With that said, I can understand the familiarity with the score and just the slow pace and the D line, the offensive line, having a bad day. There's some similarities there, but when you really drill down, I'm not willing to go there. But I'm not knocking your comparison for the reasons I just gave. With that said, let's be consistent. Let's just say we give that to you, Jason. The good news is we know what happened after that Michigan game. And so let's just continue down that line of logic and say this team is definitely going to regroup, like you said, and bounce back in similar fashion and handle business, Nevada. What you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great post. The only thing I disagree with is that they look nothing like they did all year. I think in short yardage and red zone, we looked exactly like we looked all year. You know what I'm saying? We ran that stupid 13 and 14 stuff that we've been running all year, and it hasn't worked. And then you played against a really good defense like Indiana's, and it really didn't work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think it's a great point about how do we bounce back from that Michigan debacle last year. Obviously, with a completely different approach, a completely different game plan, mindset on offense. And yeah, I absolutely 100% believe that it took something like the Indiana game to precipitate the type of changes that we needed to do, specifically in regards to those too many tight end formations. And I think that's going to change. And I think our whole mindset on offense is going to change as a result. But good post, agree with it. But I do think we bounce back and bounce back strong.
Definitely. Yep. Definitely good post, Jason. And Listen, everybody, we hate to lose around here. That's a part of the standard of our program. But I tell you what, man, I don't care. I'm so over that Indiana loss because history is upon us, y'all. This team understands they have an opportunity to make history for this program. And so nobody's going to be talking about Indiana if we hoist another trophy this year. If anything, it'll be another footnote on our journey like the Michigan game last year was. Michigan fans tried their hardest and damnedest to get us to focus on that failure in the season and distract us from the victory and triumph that came later. Just think about how silly that is. So this game, I believe, is really going to help us to regroup, like you said, Jason, and make a run. And I'm excited. So, yeah. Tyler Rucker, thanks for the 5. Longtime supporter, first super chat. Just got my tickets traveling from Dayton. Looking forward to the game. Hope to see Devin, Nevada. OH, Nevada. First of all, Tyler, thank you for being a long-time supporter. Thank you for the first super chat and leaving your comment. Listen, I'm excited for everyone who travels to games. Going to games is incredible, especially off-site. Not just like traveling, because there's another level of camaraderie with the fan base when you go on the road, and it's special, especially for a game like this. And yeah, I'm hopefully you do run into Dev and in Nevada. Dev is super recognizable with his Amish beard, like Nevada said. He's got the big Amish beard. You can't miss him. Just run up to him like everybody else does and ask for his autograph. I'm joking about the autograph part, but he's famous. So make sure you do that. But no, I'm super excited for you going to the game. Everybody else going to the game, man. It's going to be great. Nevada, what you got?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I literally will be with the Amish guy at the game. So if you see an Amish guy, or even if you mistake him for a Mennonite, if you think he's a Mennonite or something like that, that's Devin. So I'm with Devin. So you'll see me with him, the older gentleman with the young. It's kind of like the movie Kingpin. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I'll be like I'll
Another
be
great
there with
movie.
another great movie. So I'll be the older guy with my young golfing prodigy. Instead of bowling prodigy, it's golfing prodigy in Devon. So yeah, look for us. If you see us there, definitely stop and say hello. But we're gonna be all over Dallas the night before, and really, at the game early and often. And the weather's supposed to be perfect, so great for tailgating as well.
Yeah, man. Make sure y'all get. I know Dev is going to get great footage. He always gets footage, pics, and stuff like that. And yeah, it's going to definitely be lit for sure. Gio did. Thanks for the 5. Louisville wide receiver Chris Bell, 6'2", had 9 catches for 136 yards, average 15 yards per catch against the U, who's nowhere close to JJ. So their DB should really shut up. Yeah. Again, Nevada, I was already confident of this game just off of common knowledge. But going back and watching them play Louisville and SMU, I put myself in the same shoes as these players and these coaches watching film. Hear me. I'm not saying we should not respect Miami. They have talent. They're a good team. But boy, oh boy, man. Their secondary against our receivers with the game plan I believe we're going to deploy. It's going to be trouble, Shot-Town. Movie reference some of y'all won't get. But I agree, Gio did. Miami's secondary is food against a good passing attack. And I was Nevada low-key, I was like kind of shocked what SMU and Louisville was doing against their secondary.
Well, yeah, and I think Ryan Day's come in. They changed a lot of the passing concepts. They changed a lot of the route trees, and this is going to be the first time in a bit that we have a fully healthy, Carnell Tate and JJ Smith. So
Yeah.
like it's been a minute since we've seen that, but I'm telling you what, Miami's going to see it on Wednesday night. Either one of those guys would be a handful, but the fact that we've got both of them, and then a very capable Brandon Innes is a third. Yeah, I think we're going to feast through the air, and I'm taking all the over passing and receiving props because I think Ohio State's going to have a big night through the air.
Yep. And the great Geo did with another 5 and a comment. Oh, by the way, Louisville's 5'9", 185-pound running back Isaac Brown ran for 113 on 15 carries, averaged 7 yards per carry against their vaunted D line. So again, Miami, shh, great point. Just saying. I mean, again, this needs to be emphasized because again, they keep pointing to the Indiana loss. We lost to the number one seed in a Big Ten title game by 3, and we played our worst game. It was just whatever. Y'all can point to that loss all you want. Y'all lost to Louisville at the crib, and it was not a fluke. Go if you got a chance, if you're bored, go to YouTube and watch that game. Louisville went up 14-0 on these dudes and made it look easy. So, Nevada, what you got, brother?
Yeah, no, I look, they're definitely vulnerable, and look, Indiana's a good team. Indiana's a good team, got a good defense.
Yeah,
Clever team. They schemed us up well, and we're ready. But I don't think. I don't think Miami's defense is nearly as good as Indiana's defense,
no,
and we will be way better emotionally from a health standpoint, schematically. We're going to look like a different team, but they'll see. They're gonna get wind of that on Wednesday night. But yeah, you ain't playing SMU and you're not playing Louisville anymore. This is Ohio State, so there are levels to this thing, and Miami's gonna learn that in 48 hours.
definitely. I think Miami has the better NFL combine talent. Like a Ruben Bain Jr. message. They got some guys like that, but Indiana's defense is, in my opinion, more disciplined and better coached and more consistent than Miami. And that's the kind of the way I'll say it. Because Miami has talent. Before y'all cry, y'all got talent. But the film is the film, y'all. The film is the film. All right. Stilly Matt, the good brother. Thanks for the 199. Claret ineligible. Laugh out emojis and clown emojis. These Miami fans, boy, I tell you, they have exposed themselves as the biggest crybabies on the planet. And that's a tough task dealing with our the cheaters up north fans. I mean, they're like right there competing, if not exceeding Nevada.
Yeah, no, yeah. Ineligible players is that's a tough one to lean into. But hey, Claret, he probably was ineligible. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so what? Miami, it just doesn't matter. Different times, different era. But man, you guys talking about ineligible players will never not be funny to me because there was nobody that abused those eligibility rules worse than the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, nobody. And I'm talking about like number one. If I had to pick the number one most
Yes.
corrupt program in terms of that particular thing, it was the
Yeah.
Miami Hurricanes. So you
Oh,
guys
for
crying
sure.
about it is pretty funny.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But they're so desperate because you know what? We broke them. Geo did. Thanks for the 2. Thanks again for the great comment. We broke the U. They've never recovered. And it's hysterical. And this is a good segue. I'll slide right into this comment. Sack 3074. Thanks for the 5. JW stands for Jonathan Wells. Said on his Facebook, Miami fans are worse than the team up north fans. Now, Nevada, we got to get Jonathan Wells back on the show. We will do that in the new year, Jonathan. We still talk. He does a great job, and he hates Michigan fans as much as we do. But yes, Sack, I saw his post where he talked about Miami fans being worse than team up north fans. He's dealing with it too. He sees how ridiculous and stupid they are, and how much they just popping off and just running their mouths. It's just like, shut up, Nevada. What you got?
Yeah, man, I hate to disagree with the great Jonathan Wells, but I mean, is anything really worse than the Michigan fans? I mean,
No, it's not.
it's just not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they are the most disgusting, vile people in the whole world, and so Jonathan, I love you. I love you for what you've contributed to Ohio State. Great college player, great pro player, great Buckeye legend. But on this one, man, I'm telling you, the Michigan fans, you really truly are number one as the most
Yeah.
disgusting vile creatures in the world, and I don't want anybody else to steal that crown from you. So I'm gonna, I got to ride with Michigan on this one.
No, I agree. I think for the effect of this game, I think making that declaration is good for effect. But once the emotions are down and everything's sobered down, Michigan definitely still holds the crown. You're the worst. You're absolutely terrible. You're
Absolutely,
trash.
you're terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah, consistently. So there's that. We agree. Jason, thanks for the 1999. I see you got another comment. Thanks for the 999. It says amen, hoping the same spark. So this is Jason following up from his comment earlier about the reminder of the Michigan game and hope that we regroup. So yes, I definitely think that will be a spark as well. And let's see, the last super chat we got here is from the great Toledo Geo. Thanks for the 2. You don't fix your flaws if you're undefeated like in 24. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say realistic. Anybody who's played sports on any level, sure. Do you want to win every single game and never lose? Yes. Is it possible? It's possible, but there's chances that you may lose a game. How are you going to react to it? How are you going to respond to it? And honestly, especially in this new college football world where you have to win 16 or 17 games to win a natty, this is NFL light. And so my thing is it's a blessing, or it was a blessing, that the game that we lost, even though we didn't go into the game looking to lose, was really a meaningless game in the sense of how we were set up for the ultimate prize. So again, I'm going to say it one more time, Nevada. Growing up a Buckeye fan, living my life as a Buckeye fan, we've seen plenty of Big Ten titles, and we've enjoyed it. It's been nice. It's been great. But that does not compare to beating the team up north and winning natties. It never has, and it never will. And if you're willing to accept that, people out there, then the better you will be mentally. And so, yes, I will take, in hindsight, the Indiana loss if it means that it was the cause of us to fix our issues and to shake us loose from things that were not going to be productive down this stretch. And I'll stand 10 toes on that, Nevada.
Well, look, I said it before the game, so it's not revisionist history. And I think in life sometimes you have to be humbled to kind of see your shortcomings. And I think we were humbled a little bit there. And I think for Ryan, he's a stubborn guy, but he does learn. And I think we were humbled that night against Indiana. We realized that there's some tweaks, not complete overalls, but some tweaks that we need to make. And I completely agree that I'm not sure those tweaks get made if we win that game. I'm not sure those tweaks get made if we convert in, on 4th and 1, or that Julian doesn't slip, or that Jade makes that field goal. So I am absolutely grateful for that loss. Never been happier about a loss in my entire life watching Ohio State football. I really think it was the perfect thing at the perfect time, because I think those changes need to be made. Those are changes we were calling for all year. And we'll see on Wednesday night if the changes got made. But I really believe that they will. And I think it's going to be changes for the better.
Yep, I agree. That's the last super chat, but I'm going to put this on the screen. This is from Gio Kane, a Miami fan. He says, Miami is being disrespected like always. Miami defense is no joke. That D-line is going to get at sand. We'll see if he understands what's coming. No. Ohio State, if anybody's being disrespected. You've had David Pollack, a national analyst, go on air and declare that Miami has the better lines on both sides of the ball. Josh Pate said the same thing. He gave the go-ahead to Miami for both lines on both sides of the ball. I believe College Football Nerds did too. I believe they did. You've had several analysts pick Miami's units over Ohio State. The defending national champions, with the All-Americans we have riddled all over our defense. We can have like a debate about the offensive line, sure. But the defensive line, I don't want to hear about this disrespect, bro. Don't want to hear it. Y'all got plenty of love in the media. Even if it's fake, it's still being put out there. So I don't want to hear that. So miss me with that. It doesn't matter what you say. We said on this podcast multiple times that Miami's good and they're talented. But watch the tape. All right? Watch the tape. That's all we saying. Nevada, what you got on that?
Yeah, look, there's levels. Miami's a good team, but they're not a great team. Ohio State's a great team, and that's going to be the difference on Wednesday night. And that's why that's why we're the favorite to repeat as the national champion. And but we'll see. All that talk's going to be over on Wednesday. It's like about units and this and that and the other thing like that. I think at all the key spots we're better. We got the better coach, and there's a reason why we've won so many games in a row. That's why we made that run through the playoffs last year. I think we're going to be just fine on Wednesday night, but we'll see.
I agree. I agree. So listen, again, my score 31-16 Buckeyes. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I know the fellas will be traveling tomorrow. Safe travels to Dallas. I look forward to seeing the footage and all that good stuff. And I cannot freaking wait for this game, y'all. So until then, Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation, we love you. Peace, go Bucks. And if we don't see you until then, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and your families. Be safe. Peace.